Hey everybody, this is Grace. And you know, I used to sit out here in my wherever in my SUV, and I'm trying to find a pen, and I would go over notes that I had used to. I wrote them on what were they called? That's me with my fingers. What were they called? Notepads. And then I still have some of those that I haven't done yet. Then I changed to maybe sometimes index cards, but mainly to these competition books. And I have plenty of them. And then recently I have been redoing the, what are they called? Containers, maybe, drawer containers. I don't know. And I found some, I think it was 5 or 6, I don't know, that had notes in them. This isn't bad. This goes back, like this one right here goes back to May 29th, 2023. 2023. And this is October 4th, 2025. It's not bad. Wish I would have brought a pen. I keep telling myself that, and I keep forgetting, because, you know, we had this, you know, Adam had my SUV detailed back in August, and they took my pen. I cannot find it, and I just never brought one out. I need a pen. Anyway, those notes I used to write, used to read them, you know, like if somebody wanted to take this as a subject to make videos about, you know, this would be me giving them, instead of, like, you know, especially one person used to steal them. You know who you are. I don't watch him. I doubt he watches me. I don't know. I don't even know if he's still making videos. But anyway. Okay. And some of them are sometimes funny when I go back and try to read them. And I'm like, what was I thinking? Really, you know, because I was basically right, you know, put a dash and then put like this one. It says fight or flight response. Okay, we all know what fight or flight response is. And it was fight or flight response for eons, it seems like. Then people started adding to it. You know, fawn, and, you know, they kept using F words. Step for one, but, you know, anyway. I was going to eventually tell that joke, but anyway. Then I wrote that, then underneath it, kind of indented a bit, I put another little dash and put told, and then in quotation marks I wrote, they will let you die. Now, what was on my mind? I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, a fight or flight response, okay, but then what exactly was that meaning? What was I going to say about it? Then the next one, back to that very edge, and it says, my thoughts, and to add in parentheses, this one, and I wrote 2 more, indented, and a little space, indented. What was on my mind? And I wrote fake and fib. And I remember that. I remember thinking fake and fib could be 2 more. And some people would say those sound just the same. Not exactly. I mean, you really think deep, you can think of the difference between faking, you know, and these were the people who, you know, people who would, like, bullies or worse, they were coming at you, they were causing you to have this fight or flight response, to want to get the heck out of Dodge, or to want to protect yourself, or whatever, you know, these F words, in order to stop whatever was going to be abusive. And one of them would be fake, the other one would be the fib. You know, I think the best thing, I mean, not the best, I'm not giving anybody any kind of advice or suggestions, but I think a lot of people fib would say, I didn't do it, I have no idea what you're talking about, even though you did do it, and even though you knew it. I'm not saying this is a good idea, because these are people who can be, nobody should give anybody advice, this is my view, because nobody knows what kind of person you are, what kind of situation you're in, what kind of situation, what kind of person they are. And even so, nobody knows who is going to get dangerous. Anybody can get dangerous all of a sudden. It's just not smart. Anyway, after that, I had another one I already did. And then it jumps to December the 9th of 2023. I'm just going to try to put these in order. Now, that was actually May 29th, 2023. So, wish I had my pen. I can mark it off. Know that I've done it. Well, I got some money in here. Okay. They took my pen, but not my money. There's my pen. Yay! Don't know why I have Benadryl in there. Put the $5 back. Anyway. But I have a bunch more. Okay. And, you know, one of these days I'd like to, you know, get these off. The pen's not going to work because it's probably been sitting out here in 100-degree temperatures. Yeah. It kind of worked a little bit and then it decided to stop. Okay. That's mean. That is just mean. Because it's a new pen, too. Maybe not. Anyway. Next one is 6/12 of 23. Let's see. They pick on others. Okay. Well, they pick on others. Let's see. They pick on others. Oh, I read a little more, and that must be the people who pick on people about the language they use, the terms they use. They mispronounce words. They pick fun on people who do these things. We all do it. Period. I do not know anybody. I do it. I don't know anybody who doesn't make some kind of mistake every now and then. Me, I'm good at doing these expressions wrong. Plus, any of those words like, you know, it could be ill or sick. It's been a long, long time since I studied those. Long, long time. And I just don't use them enough. Period. I'm not going to make excuses. Not going to apologize. It is what it is. This time in my life, it is what it is. I'd really love to find a pen that works. But, oh well. I need to stop being too particular. Anyway, people that pick on others. Here is something that's always been my pet peeve. You know, like somebody will say they had a conversation or they conversed, or what they say is they conversate. Big pet peeve of mine. Whenever I have a pet peeve, it's like, for me, it's like, okay, it just kind of feels creepy, but you know, if I tell them in a joking manner, you know, trying to help them, or in a helpful way to, you know, constructive criticism, say, don't say that. You know, somehow I'll say it really nice. It depends on who the person is, if I say anything at all. Remember, people can be dangerous. But, you know, I try to tell, I even wrote that, try to tell them to say converse. Okay? Now, I don't pick on people. If it's somebody I think that's going to, you know, get really irate, no. If it's somebody I think that's going to get really hurt, no. You know, but I'll just say the correct word, you know, that's that. But there's some people, if they hear that, they make a big deal out of it. Oh, the whole world has to know that person said conversate. Oh my goodness, you know, and then they do something like say, throw it and go through it. Anyway, I wrote that too, just underneath was that. Yeah, and I recently said with the, I think, correct accent, you know, the Beverly Hillbillies, Ellie Mae, yeah, that, the swimming pool, she says, I'm going to throw it in the cement pond. She said, one of those episodes. It always makes me think of that. Anyway. Okay, and then I wrote these. These are these people who are being mean and hateful and jumping on people for saying bad stuff, what they do. And here's another one. Let me see if I can say these words right. The way they do it. It is. And you tell me what this is. I mean, I know what this is. Oops. That's my mount. I bought a new one. I'm not going to use the new one until our temperatures are out of the 90s. For good. Here it is. October 4th. Man, we're having summertime weather. Here in Texas. Northeast of Dallas. Anyway, another one. These... I hear the people that are picking on other people. And here it is. But-on. I think it's a little different. But-on. Kit-on. And important. What the heck? See, I'm just saying this is what they do, but they're picking on other people. I'm really not picking on them. People that have different ways of pronouncing it depending on where they live. They were raised hearing that big woo. You know, these people are the ones that remember you have some in classes when you're a kid. They're going to correct everybody on everything. Yeah. And just mean bullies. Anyway. And I wrote hyperbole. Because I remember I was in a class and I think it was middle school. I was where I was called a visiting teacher and, substitute teacher, but because I had taught, I think that's why they did it. I taught at other places with my degrees. They call me visiting teacher. And anyway, I was reading something, and if you read it and you're not, it was just me made a mistake. And instead of saying hyperbole, I said hyperbole. I even laugh now because I was reading and it just flowed out of the mouth wrong. And one little young girl in there, she said hyperbole like that. I think it was said maybe middle school kids were unique. I'd say all those hormones going crazy, right before, I would say 8th grade, right before they go to some of them go to a different, here, north of here, the town north of here, the ISD, they go to their own 9th grade. The whole school is just 9th grade. I guess it's in prep to go to high school. High school, I've worked at all of them. The high school is nice. Anyway, so I wrote that. And then to the next one, which was 6/13, the next day, 23. Let's see. Changing of the guards. How many people remember hearing that? Changing of the guards or passing the, what is that thing along? Passing the something along to the next, like you're running in a race and you pass that, what is it called? I don't use it. I haven't used that since I was in, since I was in junior high. It's a long time ago. But let's see. Okay, changing of the guards. What was I talking about? I put younger people / green people. Younger people or green people. Let's see. And I put old were set in their conservative, and conservative was in parentheses. No. Yeah, conservative ways. I can't even really read my own writing sometimes. Didn't want to do much. Have no idea. Kind of, sort of, but not really. So, it's going to get dark here. But I also wrote the definition, don't know where I got it from, of idealistic on 6/18/23. It says a person who cherishes high or noble purposes, principles, goals, etc. And underneath I put a visionary or impractical person. Then on the 20th I wrote experience with social worker. Doesn't work the same as in the real world. I remember I spoke to a social worker. And my master's degree is in sociology. That's different from social work. I used to say that really, it's not exact, but definition, or the difference is it's kind of like sociology is theory, social work is practice, but they both have to know what the other's doing. Got all that, but yeah, it's more involved in than that, but yeah, brief, very brief. But I spoke to a social worker, and she was probably like 10 years older than I, and she had been out working in it, and I said something that I was so shocked by of hearing, and she said, I was like that. I thought, all I learned in school, I would see it out here. She said, it's not like that at all. It's just it just isn't like you read in the text. It's not like what you learn at university, graduate school. And I've kind of felt for her. She, like I said, mine's theory, hers is practice. And having to practice under knowing what it should be and seeing what it is. You see what I'm saying? It had to be really tough on her because her goal, but she looked a little bit like jaded. Yeah, jaded and turned a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Okay, actually, I think that's enough for today. I said right now it's 7:15 p.m. and it's getting dark. Imagine 2 days shy, but a month later, we'll be changing, fall backwards on the time. I'm 62 years old. I've seen this my whole life. And to me, the people who whine and cry, that's how I see it. Whine and cry about, they're making us do that again. Oh, big woo. Today, I guess I'm stuck on oh, big woo. Something like that. But really, come on. Is that all you have in your life to complain about? Man, that must be a nice life. That's all you have to complain about is the time. Oh, you got to go set these days. Most clocks set themselves. Your phone does, probably, maybe. If you have a cell phone that does. Okay, the TV, the whatever. They set themselves, and if you have just one that's battery operated, so big woo. You get it down. You go 1 hour, whichever direction. But that's a reason to complain, I'm telling you. When those of us, seriously, I get some of it because, like me, I have all my medicines scheduled on my cell phone. I take medicines several times. I think total of 6 times a day. That's not just one medicine. It's a total of 6 times a day. And that's the medicine. Then there's 2 to 3 times I take insulin, depending. And that's a lot to remember. I have it on my cell phone. The alarms go off, except for the insulin. I don't do it that way. So now whenever time changes, you see, and my medicines are still going to be timed at the time, but it's not going to be the same. You get what I'm saying? It's a little adjustment, but not bad. It's not like I've heard some people that if they don't take their medicine, I cannot imagine that. Is it real? I've seen it on TV. I'm not much on watching TV, but twice I think in my life, where some people have to take their medicine exact same time every day, or can cause problems. So if time goes backwards or forwards, they have to adjust. There, that thing goes again. I don't know if that's true or that's just drama, for a TV show. trying. Well, anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'll talk to you on another video. Since this thing decided to fall again, and I already said that I was gonna wrap it up. Talk to you on another video. Bye.